Okay, we're going to practice with graffiti on the wall. And the first thing you need to do is open your picture. So you should have that on your desktop or somewhere. Right click on it and tell it to open with GIMP. Alright, once it opens, you'll see the screen about current color profile, and you just need to click on assign and leave the default. And so the picture opens, move it around a little bit. You want to change the view so you can see as much as possible. It'll be a little easier to draw on. And remember, view does not change the actual image. It only changes what you're seeing on the screen. So we're going to make that 200 so we have room to write. Now the next thing we need to do is put some text on here. And what you guys are going to do when we start the actual assignment, you're going to practice with this tool. It's called the airbrush tool. And you may have to click on it twice to get it to select. And of course, you know, this is where you can change the colors. This, you can actually change how big the brush is. And for this, opacity, that's whether you can see through it or not. And I'm just going to test it here and show you. Now, you may have to click more than once, like I'm doing here. See how that's kind of clear? Now, if you stay in one spot, it gets darker. If you make a mistake, just remember you can undo. So I'm going to change this setting for opacity and try it again. So you can hardly see that. So I'm going to go back and change that setting. So before you actually draw your picture, you need to add another layer. If you look over here on the right, we have the background picture. We don't want to draw on that layer. We need to click on this piece of paper to create a new layer. And you can just change this new layer name and say text so you can find it, so you know where it is. Leave the settings and click OK. Now you'll notice you're on the text layer here. So now we need to spray paint. Okay, so I've spray painted on the wall and I'm still on the text layer. So what we're going to do next is add a background, and to do this we need to add another layer again. Okay, drag this so you can see. We're going to call this layer text, and we're going to call it BG for background, and then leave the defaults again. What we're going to do is right click on the text layer, this one right here, right click, and we're going to click on alpha to selection. That's what it says down here. So we're telling it to select that. The next thing we're going to do is go to the word select at the top, and then we're going to go to grow. Alright, and we are going to tell it to grow the selection, and we're just going to tell it 10 and say OK. Now you can see there's a new highlight behind the text layer, and that's what we wanted it to do. The next thing we have to do is go and use the fill bucket, which it looks like this paint bucket right here. Like I said, you may have to click twice. It didn't take it the first time. And once you do that, we want to change the color. We want the fill color to be white. Right? And then we have a little picture of a bucket hanging around right there. So click inside of here, and you notice it's turning white, and I'm clicking because I wanted it to be whiter. Alright, so now we have a background layer. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is add a new layer, and we're going to create a text gradient. So go over here again, click on new layer, and we're going to name this layer text gradient so we can find it later if we need to. Alright. Okay, and this layer we need to move it. It's supposed to be on top. So click it and drag it up on the top layer. Now, the next thing it says to do is right-click on the text layer. So that's the layer that said text. And we're going to select Alpha to Selection again. And after you do this, you need to go over here where the colors are. And let me move this where you can see it. We are going to change the foreground color, and that's what I'm on right here. Change the foreground color to 00A to FF. And then we're going to change the background color. Slide that where you can see it. Change background color. And that one tells us to put in 383838. And these could be any colors of your choice. We're just following the information on the tutorial. Okay, once you do that, you need to select the blend tool. Now this blend tool, if it doesn't show up, then you can go to Tools and find it this way. But for now, mine's over here, so I'm going to click on the blend tool. Be sure it stayed. The blend tool. And alright, if you'll take your tool, go from the top and drag down like this, and then let go. And so far, that's the gradient layer.